Now when you make your foreshaft, it's so important to go slow with this process. The way I explain it is it's like making a bow. You can always take off more wood, but you can't put more back on. So we want to get, again, a nice friction fit here. So what I did is I just marked this tip with a pencil, and this end I matched up to the end trail of my sinew, and that's where my foreshaft is going to end at. So all I do is I take my Swiss multi-tool here, and I'll carve a little circle around this pencil mark, and that's where I'm going to start with. So I just carve it around just like this, and I'll just kind of bite into the wood. I won't go too deep. Again, we don't want to remove too much wood. So I just take this process nice and slow, and to be honest with you, for the most part, I use sandpaper. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just slowly chipping away at this. I'm not going fast. I'm just taking little chunks out at a time. And then when I start getting to the midsection, I can do real light cuts down this rat tail. Okay, so from here, you can see I have this tapered down a bit, and it's starting to go into a point, and I'm not going to point this out quite yet. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to start working with my sandpaper, and this is medium grit sandpaper. I believe this is 220, and I'll just slowly start sanding this down, and I'll get rid of all the imperfections. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just slowly taking off little bits of wood at a time, and that's going to smooth that off, and then I'll test it out. I'll insert that rat tail into the hollowed out section of my shaft, and we'll see what we're looking like. Now I can already tell you this is already too thick, so I'll need to remove much more wood, and you can see, I mean, it's barely going into the shaft. So I still have quite a bit of work to do. But again, I'll just go slow, and after I smooth this off, I'll start slicing through more wood with my pocket knife. Now this is looking really good. So again, all I've done is I took my knife and I used sandpaper as well to whittle this down. You can see I have a little rat tail here, and when I insert this into this hollowed out portion of the shaft, it's not too tight, but it's not too loose. So again, I can take my arrow shaft and I can shake it up and down, and it's not falling out. We don't want that. That's going to be far too loose. But it's not too tight to where we really have to force things. We don't want to do that. It's just a nice, happy medium. It's a perfect fit for this shaft. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to start carving my grooves, and I'm going to start chipping away a little bit of wood to seat my arrowhead on this foreshaft. Now what I do, and again, this is more of a personal preference, is I will look at the shaft, or the foreshaft, excuse me, and I'll look for the widest portion, and where that widest portion is running, I'll take my groove and I'll start slicing it right in the center of that, just so I have more wood to work with, and I can, again, pay close attention to some of the finer details. And I'll start this process off by just chipping away, again, just little by little, with my knife, and then I'll move over to a file. I can use my knife the entire time. Heck, if I wanted to, I can even use stone tools. I've done it before, but fortunately I have modern day tools that make this process a little bit easier. But this is just going to get a nice seat for this file. Okay, so that should be good. Now I will move right along here. And I'll just slowly start filing away at this knot. Yeah, this is really looking nice. This is nice and straight. Again, this arrowhead is so symmetrical. It's nice and flat. There's no high spots whatsoever on it. So when I take this shaft and I'm twisting it around, I'm looking at that tip and I'm looking to see if it's moving up and down. And this thing is directly in the center. There's no up and down play whatsoever, and that's exactly what we want for an arrowhead. This is absolutely beautiful. Very, very straight. That's what we want. Again, superb napping there. So all I've done with this arrowhead is I took it and of course I submerged it in hide glue. I took that hide glue and I kind of ran it on the top of the arrowhead, but I also submerged the glue in the center of this nock. And you can see I have the glue on the stone, and what that does is it's of course going to seat this arrowhead tighter. And at this point, all I need to do is I need to let this sit for a couple of hours to cure and dry, and then I can start sinew wrapping this arrowhead tight and then go on to paint the foreshaft. So you can see what we're looking at.